Is there a point in a certain lines that you want me to alert you to?
No, we'll probably just take a break. Do you guys usually do 1 or 2 breaks?
Every team is different.
Okay, so you guys, today we have to finish up a little early because of the team meeting. So I was thinking we should probably like maybe around 11:15, 11:20, just so that everybody can take a bio break or do whatever. And then, you know, if you have to make a call or something for the, because then the team meeting starts right at 11:30. So, but that means that we'll have to skip some of the stuff. So we'll talk about that and you guys will just have to commit to doing it later on your own. Is that all right? Okay, all right. Well, let's get started then. I'm just take a quick bite of this because I just took some Advil. I might have to sit down. Might not be able to stand the whole time, but so I think I've met most of you, but a couple of you, I just met Sam, and I'm sorry I didn't get your name. Alyssa. Nice to meet you. Welcome. How long have you been licensed? Wow. Okay, great. It's exciting to have some new agents here. And this is a great way to get started. And I'm really excited to be here and to share this information with you today. You know, looking around and seeing that we don't have the participation that we usually do is because this is a topic that agents don't like, right? We don't like lead generation. It's like a swear word. None of us like to do it, right, Karen? But it is our job. It's like the most important thing that we do, because without leads, we can't do all the bright, shiny things that we like to do as agents. So it's really important. It's a really important topic, and we'll try to make it fun and exciting. I want to say that you guys, please feel free to ask questions. There's no silly question in this, and because that's how we all learn. So just, you know, if there's questions throughout, just raise your hand and let's get started. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about lead gen, the systems that work, the methods, the approaches. Talk about prospecting versus marketing, although I know you guys had already talked about marketing in a previous class, correct? And then social media is going to be mentioned here, but tomorrow Drew is going to be teaching that. So we're just taking it a little out of order because of scheduling. So, but social media will be covered tomorrow with Drew. And, you know, some of this stuff will appeal to you and some of it won't. And the beauty of this business is that you get to choose what you want to do and what you want to make part of your business. You don't have to do everything, right, Stephanie? Hey, Kev. So, cheers. So let's start out with like, tell me something good. And by that, I mean, like, just tell me something that you've instituted so far in what you've learned here. Or I know you probably didn't get a chance to go out and do an open house with using some of the tactics that Kevin taught you yesterday, but maybe you've thought about it and have thought about what you want to do when you host open houses. And then of course, you know, any successes like Marjorie, you get to celebrate your success. We can't celebrate it so much. So let's just talk about that real quick. Tell me something good. Savannah, do you want to start?
I think something that I've learned is, and that I've gotten good feedback from, was setting up with postcards. I've just been like setting up like so my friends' parents, like just kind of, well, I'm just, you know, part of that your house in high school, and like here, you know, this is what I'm doing now. And so I've talked to a few people, there's about real estate things that can't have so to speak.
Are you utilizing the postcards through command?
No, me and Michelle went to the Dollar Tree up the street and.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Stephanie?
We've been thinking about like what, you know, previous class
what our services are. And we're thinking about it, maybe put people down. Yeah.
But kind of like a concierge kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm just like breaking them up even more into what could be like individual touches. So we're just gonna grab the list of services and make each one a video.
I love that.
And each one.
That's a
broken
great
down, so
idea.
We're just like, we already have a script.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And you guys, I mean, there's a lot of repetitiveness here, right? But it's bears repeating, like everything is done for us in command and on Connect. Like there's so many, there's like, you could probably spend a whole year watching all of the information that's on there. And so much of it is done for us already that we just have to plug in and play. So I love that you guys are doing that. That's awesome. How about you, Denise?
So I really enjoyed a lot of the different tools that we can pull out before. So just hearing from different agents, what different things they're using to help simplify a lot of stuff. I really learned more like things that I'm digging into.
Anything in specific?
On here, I'm looking at the Landboy and I brought yeah. But that, those, they're gonna be really helpful. So I think I've got it at. Now, but the meter how that I, that's reached out.
That's exciting. Thank you for sharing. How about you, Doug?
Really like the slide broadcast, it's a lot harder for me to work all the people, the other ones don't be, so. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Alyssa?
Literally in everything. I think what I loved most about just taking this course is hear from agents that have been doing it for certain. And then still recognizing that there's still things that they can be learning. I think that's been just so inspirational to see that there's still is ever evolving and that people are, trying to keep up and do things differently than before. It's been really amazing. It's been really awesome.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. And I can interject that too. Like, I feel like we're always learning, always, in the process of making our systems better and learning new things to simplify and making things better. So it's great that you recognize that. And yes, these classes, Ignite, or what the agents are teaching in the monthly calendar, like tap in when you can, because there is a wealth of information. There's so many different ways to run your business and so many different ways to be an agent that you don't have to, it's not a one size fits all way of doing it. So that's great. Thank you. How about you, Marjorie?
I think for me, kind of the same thing as all I'm piggybacking, but I'm an extreme extrovert. So I'm loving not only meeting all the people teaching the class, because like I've never met Ross. I mean, there's quite a few people that I've never met because I've only been here since September. And then also meeting the people sitting in here. Like I would say about half the people in the class that have been in, I had never met, been around. And I love that like everyone is their authentic selves, but able to find success in this career or calling or whatever you want to call it. And they're all finding a different way to do it themselves. So I love hearing how each person came in, like kind of got the same tool set in front of them, but found their own path. And so kind of like Lisa's been saying, it was like, take a little piece from everyone, like in each class I've learned something different or new or taken part of it. And for me, it's been like really inspiring and motivating. Like it makes me want to go and do this. I get excited when I'm in class.
That's awesome. That's what the intent is like to get you guys pumped up and excited every day, and then to get out there and get after it.
Yeah.
and keep going, keep going. Like this is the foundation for you new, the agents that are just newly licensed. This is your foundation. And then for those of us that have been around for a while, this can be a refresher for us that, that we can always be learning and can always be doing things a little bit different and still be successful in our own way. Dawn?
A lot of the same. I mean, all of the different tips and what I really like is what that I can write it all down and it'd be nice, I'm gonna make tabs for it, so I can go back and find all my different, moments.
As far as the content, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, like tabs, so I can go, oh, that's right here, because I have all of these great ideas that are written down. You know, improving the open house experience, or, you know, like. Getting active in. Your own community, and after I left yesterday in open house class, I went home and I'm like. Wow, how would I hold an open house in my own neighborhood? I would know about all the trails, I would be able to answer, and so kind of putting myself in that light, that's kind of a spark that hit yesterday, after yesterday's class. That, oh, I should know this much about the house that I'm representing.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And you'll have to show us your tabbed book when you get done, so maybe we can all emulate
Yeah,
that.
I'm able to find this stuff, because there's so much every day. You know, that was just from yesterday, so. It was-
Great. And we're going to talk about farming today. So that'll feed into that, knowing about your neighborhood or picking a specific neighborhood that you want to really cultivate and work. So we'll be talking about that today. How about you, Scott?
Well, you're talking about lead gen today and just being intentional with the daily success system again. You know, pounding the phone, getting the cards out. It's been good. It's been great. In fact, for even with the cards out, I had 3 Facebook messages back to me yesterday. Bill, thank you. You know, with that touch and the phone calls. Question for you too, when we talk about lead gen today. I'm pretty good at picking up the phone and yakking with people, but sometimes the transition into, I feel awkward transitioning into the business. So, any tips on that?
Yeah, we'll talk about that today, but just to answer your question, I think that, you know, everybody's going to be different how you do that. So you don't feel like you're being salesy or,
Right.
but I think if you can always come from contribution, you know, and with that spirit before you even start making the calls, but then, you know, how am I going to help this person? You know, I haven't talked to Karen for a long time, but I want to reach out to her today, find out what's going on in her life, and then maybe ask her some questions about, you know, like, are you doing some updates to your house? I've got some great contractors that I can refer you to, or, you know, just transitions like that
Right,
aren't
yeah.
direct to real estate, but are part of real estate.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah, so just that, but the other thing you can do too is you can be very upfront and just say, I'm calling today to talk to you about business. And this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who's ready to sell. You know, we have, you know, right now, you guys all know, this is no secret. We're back in a really strong seller's market and we're low inventory, right? So, you know, who do you know that's in your sphere that might be thinking of selling or has a property that they've been hanging on to and they're not sure what to do with it, you know, because mom or dad passed away and the siblings weren't quite ready to get, you know, there's people like that everywhere, and we just have to have the conversations to find it. And you don't always have to be salesy about it. You can be very, you know, sincere, but intentional.
Right.
And then just ask the questions. But you can also tell them, like, I'm calling for business today. And then always ask, how can I help you? So it's not just about you,
Right.
it's about them.
Restaurants.
Exactly. Yeah, like, don't ever leave a call without asking how you can help them or what you could do for them, or, you know, because then that feels like they're being sold to and like, oh, well, Amory just called me today because she wants business. You want them to feel like you called because you care, and that's what they are, right? They're care calls. If you look at that, like the calls that you're making, they're just caring about people. And it doesn't even have to be people that you know. I mean, you can care about people that you don't know, right? And then you get into a relationship with them, and then the relation gets deeper and you care more. But they can be care calls to people that you don't know. And that helps me a lot when I look at lead gen, if I think about it that way, because if you think about it just simply as lead gen, it makes me feel icky inside. I don't want to do it. Like, no one wants to hear from me. They know I'm a real estate agent. They'll call me if they need me, right? The monkey mind starts going.
Right.
So to talk myself down and be like, okay, I'm calling these people because I care. And if they don't hear from me, and they have a real estate need, and they might have forgotten about me because they haven't heard from me for so long. Well, then whose fault is it if they transact real estate with someone else? Because I didn't care enough to call, because I couldn't get over myself to pick up the phone. You know, and I mean, I'm preaching here and I am, but it's what I have to tell myself every day too, you guys. I mean, I've been licensed since 2015 and it's still the thing that's hardest for me to do is to do intentional lead generation. Ask Karen. She's on me, you know, that's what her job is, to be on me about that. And, you know, it's, I'm sure she's just like, feels like, oh my gosh, I can't get her to do what she's supposed to do every day. Because that's our job, you guys. I mean, our job is to generate leads and to help people, right? But you can't help people if you don't have people to help. So lead gen is our first job. So get off on a little tangent, you guys, but it's just so important. And I just can't stress it enough. Like, we have to always be in the mindset of caring about people. That'll make it easier. You're a caring person. So, I mean, if you think about it that way, it'll never be hard for you to pick up the phone. Well, maybe not always, but most of the time.
Right.
Yeah. How about you, Sam?
I think my favorite part has just been, you know, as a new agent, being around experienced agents and just hearing what they have to say about their past experiences. It's just nice to jot that stuff down and look out for that in the future. So.
Is there anything that you picked up so far that you're really excited to like implement in your business, like right away?
Marketing especially.
Okay.
Given.
Okay. Awesome. Don?
I also wanted to say, you know, some of the stuff that I am doing right, it's kind of like a validation, like, oh, you did make the right decision, and you go through those panic, like, release, I don't know that I should do them. Those I thinking, and then to see that it's working for other people, you're laying that foundation, kind of validation, yeah, you're on the right.
Is there anything in specific that you could?
Well, like the social media has always been big on that, and oh yeah, that I am doing great for some of the open house stuff there. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's nice to know that you're already on the right track, and then
Yeah.
you can use these tools and tips and tricks that you learn in here to add it to your bag of tricks, right? Thank you for sharing. Thanks, Sam. Payment?
Yeah, I wasn't here. What was your question?
Oh, sorry. So we're just sharing some of the things that we've learned from the classes already, or kind of, you know, what I started with is just tell me something good, like something good that's happened or something good about the class.
Oh, the classes were awesome, but I didn't believe that it would be effective at that point. That's why I participated every day.
Oh, good.
And being around the experienced agent, they have a lot of things to share. I learned a lot of websites that do help me. More leads. So I am in the process. Thank you so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Thank you for sharing. And I agree. Like, I was in Amy and Stephanie's class this week, and I learned things about the slide communication, you know, the slide dial and the slide broadcast. Is that the name? And we don't use that in our business, but I would like to start implementing that. So, you know, those are the things that we've never done, but we can do to help enhance our communication, which is never a bad thing. And then I'm sorry, I haven't met you yet. Sorry. I'm sorry, Adriana. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How long have you been licensed?
About 2.5 years.
Okay.
The past routine.
Great. So hopefully you could impart some knowledge and share some of your experiences with those of us that might not be as experienced.
More than happy to.
Thank you. We appreciate that. So what can you tell us that is, have you taken this class before?
I have taken Ignite before, back when our team was over at the Moselle location.
Okay.
So it's definitely different. The reason why I'm taking it again is one, just with the shift, my business has just got a little slower. I'm actually excited and I just got very approved last night, so get back off the market. But also to just
hear from all the other experienced agents in this office. People that have been producing for a long time or that have picked out their business in a really fantastic way and have been in the business for a while, but they found it works for them and they succeeded really at a high level. So kind of why I'm here, sometimes take it all in and it's fun. Everybody's got their own one. It's always, I always.
Great. Thank you for sharing. That too, it was 8 years ago, and then they have, taught it throughout and still step in. Scott, were you able to take Ignite when you started? Did we have it then? I don't think we had, I don't think we've had it here for a while.
It was weird. I started and then kind of COVID hit.
Yeah.
Everything kind of changed.
So it's, and Stephanie, did you take it when you first started with Amy?
In the older.
Okay, so it's been a while for you too.
Yeah, and that was like, it was an all-day class.
So instead
So
of,
they condensed it into like a mere like 3 hours with the task to do it, but it used to be like the entire day. We used to go to like
3 o'clock, yeah,
it was-
it was very intense. And I feel like it still is because it's 5 days a week, but it's not as long and it's the information, they've kind of made it more concise, but there's still, things that you can do outside of it. And actually we should be doing outside of it once we take the class and then implement it and all right, well, thank you guys for sharing. And I think the AHAs are important. We all know kind of what AHA means, but there's an acronym that also is agents helping agents. So when you share your experiences, it helps us all because, there's so much information coming at us and we can only internalize so much of it. So you guys sharing your experiences and the things that stand out to you helps all of us because we might not have quite remembered that or, committed that to memory where now, well, some of these things that were highlighted will probably stick with us more. And if we have questions, we can always go to, like I could, hey, Savannah, tell me about that postcard thing that you mentioned. And what did you do? And what have your results been? Or Dawn, tell me, you were going to do some more farming in your neighborhood. What did that look like? So, but let's dig in and get started with the material. And then we'll have opportunity for more AHAs. Oh, BJ, hi, welcome.
Thank you.
So not to put you on the spot, but to put you on the spot, we were just all sharing kind of some AHAs of what we've taken away so far or, something good that's happened to you, if you've implemented any of these strategies in your business.
Yeah. So I reached out to as many as people I could, and besides, I've been learning a lot regarding open houses, and then but basically I'll be like farms, look at my notebook, and then I'll be able to sell the house.
Okay, great. Yeah, and we'll have opportunity to share too throughout, but just everyone else shared, so I didn't want to leave you out. Welcome. We're glad you're here. There's some pastries up front. Help yourself if you'd like. If you didn't get a chance for breakfast. Glasses, just so I can. So does anyone want to read this quote from Gary?
Love people, but at the same time, haven't yet learned to love some people.
Yes, and that's the name of the game, you guys. That's our business, is bringing people into our fold, into our databases, into our lives, and loving on them. That's it. Something that's been said a lot recently with the changes in the market among agents and people who have been in the business for a long time is that, the last couple of years has been really great in real estate. There's been lots of buyers and sellers. We haven't had to work real hard to get, the fish were jumping in the boat, right? They were, but they're not now. So now we have to get out our fishing poles and our tackle boxes, and we have to get to work to find the ready, willing, able, and motivated buyers and sellers. So that's our job. Legion is our job. If anybody told you that getting into real estate was just going to be looking at pretty houses all day long, and that's all you were going to do and then negotiate contracts, and maybe you would get a reality TV show, Probably not going to happen. But if you want to work really hard, make connections with people, help them at the highest level, and be there for them through these really sometimes great transactions and sometimes difficult transactions, you can make this business your lifelong career and your love and your passion. Or you can look at it like, I don't want to do that lead gen. I'm going to wait for them to jump in my boat, and then you'll be out of business because they're not doing that right now. So we have to go out and love on them and find them. The next one. So today we're going to talk about the 2 M's of lead generation, the message and the method. And today we're going to focus a lot on the method versus the marketing. You guys already touched on marketing in the class, and you'll do more marketing. So today we're going to focus more on prospecting than marketing, but we will talk about marketing because all of our businesses can flourish being marketing enhanced, but prospecting based. So I think they're getting out of order somehow. Can you go back to that one? Sorry, you guys. Okay. So I'm going to say a little bit more about this. Do you guys mind if I just read from the script some of the stuff and then some of the stuff we'll talk about? So I don't want to miss the important things. So lead gen is supposed to be purposeful and intentional. This slide depicts a system to help make your lead generation more purposeful. We call this message and method of your lead generation, or the 2 M's. And I think you have something in your guide about this, in the participant guide about this. About having a message and then a method to drive that message to your desired audience. So the message must, number 1, match your market, and number 2, make an offer for immediate response, or MOFR. Have you guys heard that term before? MOFR, make an offer for immediate response. So, and the MOFR should match the market by tailoring the message or the intended message to the sentiments of the market condition or to the group that you're trying to target. And always have a call to action that can be direct. Call me now, schedule a showing, or it can be indirect, like check out my website to learn more, or follow me on social media to get tips and tricks for buying your first home. Or so it can be direct or it can be indirect. So what could be an offer that would generate immediate response? Can anyone think of anything?
We do it all the time, for CMAs, a lot of agents do it.
Yeah,
The, market analysis, or, which is just a way of saying CMA. Or say, hey, reach out to me if you'd like to get on, a neighborhood search so you can see what's going on around. Anything like that is kind of the same market that could be.
and how do you spread that message or share that message? Is it through social media? Is it through, do you have a newsletter? Do you send out text messages? Like, how do you share that message?
Mainly through social media. I've got the contact information for all our people within Lake High Group's community. And so I'll reach out to them either via email or text. They don't have an email, then I text them, let them know. And then I've done responses with him, conversations. It actually was a great way for me to meet some of the local small businesses. So the landscaping companies, roofing companies, like that, because their home address was their business address.
Oh, cool.
So,
That's awesome. Did you then add them to your vendor list too? That's cool. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
To bounce off that, I just sent out or mailed out like, it was like 600 mailers of around me and Michelle's neighborhood. And like one sheet of paper said like, hey neighbor, reach out to us for like a free CMA. Like we put our contact information, and then there's a little box that I forgot. I should know it's like that. And then on another sheet of paper that we folded in there, it just had like a little bit about me and Michelle, we both live in Fairfield, so it's like. I did load more stuff. I just mailed those off now. So there they go.
Those are great examples. Do you have something to share, Stephanie?
Excuse me, like, we do handwritten notes to the hires. So, yeah, all those. Yeah, I just give them very detailed ideas.
Do you find that that's pretty, I mean, effective? Do they respond?
Since they are handwritten, and since there are, like, it's either the hires or the bottom. And I always end it with, I look forward to hearing from you. And I send you these things, and since they're handwritten, people feel inclined to get back to us and tell us, oh, we pulled it, or, oh, we're gonna relist it with the previous agent, so they always like feel the need to get back to us, and we spend all this time writing to them. So it's been, very good in that way that we're actually getting more feedback than just to.
And I love that. That is such a special touch, you guys, and that shows going above and beyond, just not doing the surface stuff. Like that's going deep into it. And so much so that strangers feel like they have to respond to Amy. Like that is really cool. And that is something that, I mean, even if, like, say they already have an agent that they're working with, but they're going to remember that. They're going to remember what Stephanie did, or what, you know, they think it's Amy, but what Stephanie did, they're going to remember that he's, hey, you know, if something goes wrong with the agent that they're already committed to, or maybe down the line, they'll like, you know, let's call that agent because she really went above and beyond. And that's what they're looking for. So that's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else? All right. So making the phone ring and making an offer that generating a response clearly can work. And that example is like, I mean, that tugging at the heartstrings of people that you're reaching, that they feel like they have to respond to you is huge. That they actually do is amazing. I mean, some people are still going to just throw it in the recycling, and that's okay, but they still saw your message and they still saw your name and they still know that you're out there working. So, and that's really what, and when they are ready, they will likely call you. I mean, that's something you guys got to remember. You're going to make a lot of calls and you're going to get a lot of people that don't respond. You're going to send out a lot of stuff and you're going to get a lot of people that don't respond. But when they're ready, they will call, you know, and it might be several years before they do. But all along, they're hearing you, they're seeing you, they know that you're reaching out, and you just have to keep doing it. And that's the mundane part of this job. This is the boredom of lead gen. And, you know, Gary talks about it all the time. Like it's boring, but you've got to get comfortable with the boring part of it and then get excited about it. Like what Scott was talking about, like talking to people, connecting with people, caring about people. So if you can make the mundane fun and exciting in your own way, it'll be a lot more impactful. So I'm going to talk about the method, and we'll get deeper into that with some of the strategies. So can you go to the next one now? Thank you. So there are leads everywhere, and you can always truly be on the hunt for leads. So, which is why it's so important that when you're out in the public, you're always paying attention, always looking for opportunities to connect with people without being creepy. But listening and, you know, looking for opportunities to connect with the people and building rapport. You know, people are always watching you, especially if you've done your, you know, for those of you who are new, if you've sent out your postcard or letter to your sphere, like, hey, I'm in real estate now, or announced on social media, you can bet everyone's going to be watching you and, you know, seeing how you're doing and how you're interacting with people and you know, wanting to see like how are they going to be successful or not, and because they want to see how you're approaching being in business. So in here there's I'm gonna read it and you guys take it for what it is, but this is something that they suggest. And then you guys, if you feel comfortable doing this, then you can do this, but then you can find your own ways of things. So, so one approach could be you're at a coffee shop and you overhear a couple talking about an open house that they were just at. You could approach them and say, hey, I overheard you talking about the open house. Are you looking for a home in the area? Would you guys feel comfortable doing that? Some of you would, some of you won't. But if you don't, and that's a good example of if you're in, like, let's say you're at church and you hear people talking about it, and it might not be appropriate to start talking about it at that very minute, but you likely know a lot of the people that you go to church with, so you could go back and talk to them later, make that connection later.
I even make connections with people at the gas station. You know, when they have gas, I start talking to them. Get with a car.
Oh, that's
Other
cool.
side of gas.
What does that look like? Like, just tell us what that would look
I
like.
just started talking, how's everything going, how's your day? And then we move it to, oh, by the way, I'm here, say, agent, if you need any help or knows anybody, I'm here. I promise, you're not going to be there.
That's awesome. And then do you usually ask them for their contact info or?
I mean, sometimes I do, sometimes I grab my phone when I get, I know that they want to talk and ask them to look on the command, ask them to enter their phone number or anything. In the gas station,
It's quick, right? I mean, you
It's
can't usually
quick,
having
right.
long conversations at the
I
pump.
don't want to, all the people, sometimes it happens, they gave me the information, but most of the time, at least I share my information.
That's awesome. Way to go. I mean, that's, so there's a really great example, you guys, of just being on, like this, the conversation started at, I just mentioned, like, you overhear someone, depending on how I'm feeling that day, I may or may not feel comfortable doing that. Some days I might, and depending on how approachable the people look too. And if they get the creeps 101 and they kind of like back off, then it's like, okay, this isn't the people I want to have conversations with. But at least you try, and you just have to try different things too. So, and then, we talked a little bit about it earlier, but the method of connecting people, the acronym FORD, have you guys heard that before? FORD, is really important. So it's family, talking with them about things that are important to them, family, occupation, recreation, what they like to do, and then their dreams or their hopes and dreams and their objectives. So, those are some ways to, get conversations going or connect with people that you don't either already know or don't know well, or have conversations with people that are already in your sphere, but you want to have real estate conversation. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to share about that? Like just ways that you've started conversations?
What is your strategy to get there?
It kind of depends on the situation. And I might ask if it's like, if it's at a networking event or, an event where there's business people and I, surmise that they probably have a business card. I might ask them for their business card.
Normal thing, or how I do it everywhere. Communicating to people at the store, everywhere. Even if I pick up something from on Craigslist, I would share my card.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, we're in business for ourselves, so we have to learn how to shamelessly self-promote ourselves without being creepy or, stalkerish. But I guess, everyone's different. And I think that in some cases, you're so gregarious, Payman, and so happy and so approachable, people would probably not feel at the least bit put off if you approach them that way. Sometimes I would maybe have comfort in doing that, and sometimes I wouldn't. So I love that you're bold and that you just tell everyone. I might be a little more hey, would you like to know more about your neighborhood, and share our app and then ask for their information for, for that, because you need their phone number or email and of course their name. So that might be one way that I would do it. You know, it's just what you're comfortable with. Yeah, but I mean, thank you for sharing that because it just shows that you get out of your comfort zone and just tell everybody what it is that you do. I mean, people don't know unless they know, right?
Trust me, even when we go to, getting together with the family and friends, they know I'm the talking one.
Well, and that's okay. That's all right. And then hopefully you give them a chance to talk about what they do too, so that you can all interact. Okay, here, you want to go to the next one? Any ahas to share?
I think the biggest thing is just get comfortable being vulnerable. It's the only way that you're going to have those conversations to actually get those leads, because you're not gonna know unless you put yourself out there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And people need to know what we do because otherwise we're a secret agent if they don't know. So. That's a good one. All right, we'll go to the next one. We'll keep moving right along. So we are at the prospecting versus marketing. Can you go to the next one? Anyone want to read this?
Lead generation is a contact sport with simple rules. It means making contact with people through prospecting and marketing.
Thank you. All right. So you've seen this chart before. And everyone you know is somewhere on this spectrum or this continuum. Either are they at the top or the bottom? Are they ready to move or are they staying put for a while? So if you're not only going to be prospecting for people who are ready to buy right now, but keeping in touch through nurturing leads because they might be ready in a year or two. How would you go about doing that? Like, what are some of the ways that you would keep in touch and nurture? Anyone?
Keeping them on your list for any kind of outreach, so newsletter or client event or meeting with them.
Thank you. Yeah, is just keeping in touch because not every lead that you get is going to be like, they're not going to be ready, willing, and able now buyers, but they might be a month from now. They might be 3 months from now. They might be 3 years from now. So keeping in touch with them is really important. And every conversation that you have is somebody who's going to buy or sell someday. It might not be today, but someday. And so every relationship or every conversation you have can turn into a relationship. It's a potential buyer or seller at some point. And the key is to nurture that relationship and keep in contact and just be ready when they're ready so that they're going to call you. But if you miss the opportunity because they're not ready, willing, and able buyers now, and they told you, well, we're going to go a year from now, but they decide 6 months from now, which often happens. I mean, those of you who've been in the business for a while can attest to that, right? They tell you they're going to be ready in a year, and then you find out 6 months from now that they bought something, right? Does that happen to you, Adriana?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I'll reach out to them and, oh, yeah, we're actually looking for homes right now, we put in an offer yesterday and stuff, and like, we talked like 2 weeks ago. We didn't want to bother you.
Yes. Yeah.
We found out from the lender that they were wanting to like write on the house. But luckily they're still using us, but they've just been going to opens because they didn't want to bother us for like, what are we doing?
Right, exactly.
So I think especially like everyone knows they know from other times, they've been somewhere far away and they just said, we didn't think we wanted to hide it. Not all that.
Yeah. We spend a lot of time behind our windshield.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that is a really good example of like that we need to let people know, like, if you want to look, we want to be there with you. It's not bothering us. Again, getting back to that caring calls and caring about people is so important. So it's important to find the ready, willing, and able buyers right now, right? Because we need to be, and sellers, because we need to have now business, but it's also important to nurture these when they're somewhere on this continuum. The question that is on here is, so who do we prospect for and when? Anyone tell me what the answer is? That's it. You guys have heard that before, right? Yes, everyone all the time. So always prospecting, always looking to build relationships and care about people. Switch to the next one. All right, you guys have seen this before in session 5, right? The marketing. It's here to remind you of the 2 methods for lead generating, prospecting and marketing, and that your business should always be prospecting based and marketing enhanced. Why is it better to have a prospecting based business and marketing enhanced?
Because we get results, yeah. Financial.
Yeah.
Got some people in market. You don't have
That's
people
true.
who can't.
Well, and prospecting is free, right? So especially for those of you that are brand new to the business, I assume you don't have huge marketing budgets. So prospecting is free. It's just getting on the phone. It's your time spent, which I guess if you look at it, you know, in terms of opportunity cost, it's not free because our time is, but getting out there and doing the prospecting and using then the marketing to enhance those efforts by posting on Facebook and the socials to help can definitely be an enhancement, because they need to see what you're doing. You know, they need to see that you're out there working, actively working. And prospecting will build your business during times, lean times like right now. You know, you will have people to call, right? And you guys are just starting out, so that's awesome. You can just start calling people and getting people in your database. I mean, there's opportunity for us all. Just because the market might be down doesn't mean that we can't be successful in this business. We just have to do the things, and that's the things that will give us short-term results and long-term results. And the prospecting can help you find those short-term people rather than waiting by dripping on them with marketing and hope that they're going to decide. You can actively find those by prospecting. And if it's not them, you know, if it's not the people that you're talking to that day that they're looking to buy or sell, you ask the question like, well, then who do you know? You know, who do you know that might be? And I bet everybody knows someone who might be. And then you can ask them if they would pass your name along to them, or even if, you know, depending on the relationship you have, ask if they would share their information with you. Go to the next one. All right, so these are some of the prospecting ways that we can prospect that are listed in the Millionaire Real Estate book. And there's something that's missing from this. Can anyone tell me what it is? Everybody's familiar, right? Anybody?
The spirit.
Well, it's social media. Social media. Because of the age of this book. And even though this book, you know, is kind of predating our social media, all these strategies, everything that's in here still works. These models still work, but social media is not on there. So it's kind of a trick question, but it's important to note that this still works. These strategies still work. So they're tried and true strategies for prospecting. Has anyone, any of these, I mean, other than calling, which we know we need to do, have any of these strategies worked well for you in your business? Is there any one that you guys focus on?
Community outreach has worked really well for me. Most of my leads that come from volunteer program. who I met during those times.
That's awesome.
I'll second that, community outreach. I think, huge as well.
Okay. And do you talk about like what you do with the people, or I mean, do you wear your KW stuff or your team stuff? Or do you sponsor things so that they know that they relate you to real estate?
I've done both, but I'm mostly just talking to them.
Okay,
I mostly just talk to them, I serve on a couple of different committees and boards, so, I'm actually one of the Mountsview City Commissioners on the Lead Economic Development Commission. So that has allowed me to make a name for myself within the city, the head of the city, to be able to branch out and meet all of those people. I work directly with the Mountsview Police Foundation, and then have the board of directors there, so I work with police department more. So it's just different ways that I've connected with different people, so city hall and other groups. It's just going to be to get to know a lot of the people who've been long term in the community, which is helping to find.
awesome. And has that led to some business for you?
It has, yeah.
Because they see you, they know you, they like you, and they trust you because you're active, they see you, they know you on another level than just a real estate agent. You're a person, you're committed, you're passionate. They can trust you. It's all about that. And don't discount things that you've done in the past. So if there's organizations or community outreach or volunteering that you've done in schools or your kids' schools, or even in, in school, like people that you met in school and college or high school, like don't discount those relationships because they know you. You may not have been in touch with them for a while, but this is an awesome opportunity for you to get back in touch with them, get their information, and then keep in touch with them and care about them.
I just got a buyer meeting page over the weekend that was somebody that I knew from my days living up on the farm, so.
Cool.
Middle school and stuff, so it does come full circle.
And is there any specific lead gen or care calls or anything like strategies that you can attribute to that you kept in touch with them, or was a whole bunch of?
That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
I've had people start reaching out to me recently that have been following my social media, but I never saw them react, they didn't comment, so. But I kept posting as much as I could, and they saw it when it came through. And they knew that I was in real estate, so when they needed something, they then reached out. One of the weirdest ones was actually just like last week, an ex of mine from college, his mom reached out to me on Facebook, and she's like, hey, I haven't talked to her since 2016.
Wow.
She's like, hey, so we're thinking about listing our house this summer. Can you help me? I'm like, yes. Of course I can help you. But it was weird because it was out of the blue and I hadn't talked to her in 6-7 years. So, yeah, I mean, social media has been huge. That's how a lot of the people in the community know my name now too, is because I post on behalf of the organizations that I'm involved with. So social media is extremely powerful. So if you guys get a chance to be a part of your neighborhood pages, definitely do that.
Like, are you thinking like saying like Facebook groups for your specific neighborhood or next door or both?
I was on Nextdoor for a little bit. I haven't gotten back in there just because I personally had some little bit of like negativity coming straight at me when I was on there, so I was stuck to on Facebook
Okay.
recently. But yeah, so neighborhood pages, so like Mountsview, we've got 2 neighborhood pages for Mountsview. We've got, I'm part of the Blaine Uncensored page, which you can, because it's the uncensored page, you can post anything business related, advertisements, anything like that in there. So I do a lot of open house posting in those neighborhood pages as well, if I'm close by. And then the new writing, buy, sell nothing, I posted in there before as well, especially if you're offering free classes and stuff like that. Even though you're not, it's real estate related, posting in those kind of pages is a good idea as well. They'll look in there for good deals and stuff like that. You see people that are downsizing, so if you have them come across, oh, hey, there's a class going on for selling and this or buying, and that's kind of what I want to do, is upsizing or downsizing or whatever. It can be really good research. I have a lot of people that, a lot of other realtor friends that are next door and they've had a lot of great success with it. I just personally didn't have a great experience, but doesn't mean it doesn't work.
I think it can be a little bit of a dumpster fire sometimes because people just, feel compelled to be negative or not, or nasty. I mean, people who are like that, and you just have to let that go because it's not about you. But yeah, I mean, that
That's
definitely,
exactly why we have two neighborhood pages for them. One of them not very political.
yeah,
They made a different one.
yeah. I mean, that's a really good point, you guys, and you can't emphasize this enough, is that people are always watching you, whether you know they are or not. So now that you've decided to be in the public eye as a real estate agent, it's important that you don't get involved in any political, religious, just don't engage with people who want to battle, and keep everything pretty neutral. I mean, you can have your own, and as we all are entitled to having our own opinions, but keep it all neutral, especially on the social media channels, because people are watching. So it's super important. But the upside of that, because I think there's so many more positives to being out there on the social media channels, so that people see you, they see you working, they see you engaging in your community. So it's not just all about real estate. And that's really important, is that you're not just always engaging with real estate related stuff, but that you are still peppering that in there so they see you working. So if you're hosting an open house on the weekend, like, make sure that you put that out there, post the property, and hey, come see me, or wouldn't you love to see this property, or who do you know that would love to live here? But then also be peppering it with other things that aren't just real estate related, but they are watching and they will engage if they like what they see over time and they see you being successful. And even if you're on a team, you can share your team's listing, or ask agents in the office if they're okay with you sharing their listings to market them, because the general public doesn't know whether it's your listing or someone in your office listing. They just see you with houses and know that you're actively doing your job in real estate. And that's what they need to know, is that you're not just sitting, here at the office waiting for your phone to ring, that you're out there doing the work. And that's what they want to know. And they want to see that you're successful. So does anyone else have anything to add to that, like other things that they've done other than calling?
One of the things that, well, I did it for the first time in the fall, and I'm not really sure how many people levels got from it, but, we were going door to door in our neighborhood and dropping off like a paper bag, and then we had stapled, like a flyer on it that said, we're dropping these off Tuesday. We'd like canned food items in it or whatever you want, and then they could pick the food shop they want to drop it off, they could just circle on. But it had like our contact info on it. So it's kind of like slyly, reach out to us if you have any questions about real estate, but we're also still, again, like, helping our community with the food. And then we dropped it off on a Friday, and then a week later, we can put that, people were just left on my front doorstep.
So were those bags pre-printed from like an organization, or did you just go to Cub Foods and ask them if they would share and tell them what you were doing?
I honestly think Michelle just had most of them at her house, and then, so just from.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you definitely can do that too, save your bags.
Yep, and then, yeah, we just stapled the piece of paper on it, and just kind of walked around. And we didn't, like door knock necessarily with them, some of the, like, homeowners would be out in the yard, where everybody had hot dogs, sure what we were doing, but yeah, we mainly just put it right on their doorstep. On the one way to.
That's a great one. And that one's, is especially if they're the business would donate the bags, or you could just go to your friends and neighbors and ask for their bags and use, any old bag. But I mean, Cub Foods might want that, that's not going to hurt them to have their, you still have to go and ask, of course, but using that.
Another great thing maybe you can use like in the community pages, just like, if you don't have paper bags, you can just like, hey, if anyone has any paper bags, and then we're going to pick them up. I'm in real estate, but this is what I'm doing.
It's a relatively inexpensive way to get your name out there and do good in the community. And then you can post about it You know, like, look at all the food. We collected 600 pounds of food and we donated to XYZ food shelf, and then note that food shelf, tag them, and then everyone who is on that page is gonna see you and see, wow, you know, Savannah and Michelle, they're out there working in the community and look at all these great things that they did. And that just gives you more street cred and, you know, lifts you up in the eyes of the people, because you're not just out there trying to drum up business for yourself. You're also out there actively helping the community. So
I also have food drives and have a lot of success with food drives. You end up meeting a lot of people that have been in the community for quite a while, and I'll actually I'll staple the flyer in the bag as well, but I'll also staple what is. So they can take one thing on, but still leave the flyer so that I know which bags to pick up. So it's their way of being able to take something with them. And that's worked out really well for me. And a lot of times I go to pick up the bag and well, 50-50, my credit's gone. So I'll take that.
yeah, well,
But yeah, I mean, I've had people, it's my second one targeting just very specific community with a food drive. And we've got a food shop right in now too that's partnership with the local school system, so it all stays locally. And I've got a couple people that every time now, they're like, keep me on the list forever. As soon as you do another one, coming over, I'll take another thing of food. So
That's
actually, the next
awesome.
one I'm doing is a Mother's Day baby drive. Because the food shelf needs diapers and wipes and all sorts of stuff, so I'm gonna do a specific one.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
He is already super excited about it, so.
Well, and especially if you get a following and then they ask you to stay on your list. I mean, what better is that they know that you're gonna do that every year and they want to be involved? That's really great.
Yeah, we do a team on our team, so we'll do it as a team, we'll go over neighborhoods.
Themes work.
Yeah.
They do.
With a scare away hunger for the Halloween, and then we did a share the love for February.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. So Keller Williams surveyed their top producing agents, and most of them have 4 of these as kind of their pillars of their business. And how they, you know, use that to enhance their business. Are there any of those on the list that you guys see or, you know, now have heard people talk about that you would consider adding to your business? Any of those look appealing? No?
Lots of, it's just, I am so ready for springtime to get outside and do more.
Yeah, it does.
Got by a wagon. Food,
That's a great idea.
and I can sit on it if I get time.
Take a little break.
Well, I think it's a little bit better now that like ice is gone from like the bottoms of the driveways, because that was also really problematic, even when doing the, like, when we were going up to the homes, just to leave the bags for food donation, like, I wanted to live it all.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely a little bit limited by the weather here. I mean, you know, in the Midwest, sometimes it's too cold. You don't want to go walk in neighborhoods, and then sometimes it's too icy and treacherous. So and spring is coming. So we have, you know, something to look forward to maybe utilize some of these tactics and strategies in the outdoor. Can you switch to the next one? All right, we're not going to spend too much time here again, because we're not focusing on marketing, but can you guys read through this list and see if anything's missing here? You already know the answer.
Social media.
Yes, yes. Again, another list that's here in the red book. That just wasn't really a factor when the book was written, but
Under broadcast number 3,
mhm.
and then it's also live social media.
Yeah, you're right. It's on there. And then here it says it's not on there. Oh, they could, yeah, the Ignite book is updated, but oh yeah, it is. It's right here too. Yeah, so make me a fool. Reading the manual. Just reading the manual, but yeah, it's here. I mean, some of these things, of course, cost. And some of them, yeah. So that's why we want to focus on the prospecting, things that don't cost a lot. And then this is a good time to point out, that Command has a lot of really inexpensive things that, you can utilize, for a low cost. And if you go to, answers.kw.com, and add and search the Ignite reference guide, there's a bunch of courses that, can lead you through some of these things that we're talking about today and see other tips and tricks other agents are using. Okay, so this is, some of the sources that use both marketing and prospecting, like we were talking, Dawn was mentioning about, farming a specific neighborhood. So these are some of the, tools that you can use that utilize both. I'm sure you talked maybe a little bit about some of the stuff yesterday in the open house class, with, door knocking before you're open, inviting the neighbors. And when you're doing that, depending on how in-depth the conversation goes, I mean, right now it's cold, so people might not want to stand outside and talk too much, but when you're door knocking to invite neighbors and people start talking to you, because some people will engage you in conversation, you might want to have, some information, just about the market or about that specific neighborhood to share, because they might want. Talks a little bit in here about, door knocking and how it can, obviously make the neighbors aware, and they can help choose their neighbors if they're so inclined. That's also a thing to mention to them, which they all like to hear that. Oh yeah, I really want good neighbors. So
I've actually taken advantage of bad weather and had the best conversations during bad weather, because nobody wants to let you sit outside when it's freezing or when it's boiling hot outside. So a lot of times I've actually been like, one of the most successful days of door knocking was when it was blistering hot last summer or last fall. And I was going door to door. I was starting to get, a little bit sweaty, but stopping in my car every couple, houses cooling down. And somebody offered for me to come inside and during the air conditioning, offered me a bottle of water, and we sat and talked for about a half hour about them wanting to sell their home, buy a new home, kind of investment opportunities, stuff like that. And so I still keep in touch with them now, send them stuff every once in a while, but it was a really great conversation that I wouldn't have had if it wasn't super hot out, because he had just gotten home, he was about to shut the door and pretend he wasn't home, kind of thing. But it ended up being a great conversation because he wanted to make sure I was okay and hydrated, so.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
and it's kind of
awesome.
cool to invite me in when it's like cold out, just like coming to the entryway and we'll have a good conversation about it too, so. Sometimes going out when the weather's not ideal can be some of the best way to do it.
See, so don't like,
You're going in door knocking, you're.
Most of the time, it's either going to be one of my food drives or it's going to be an open house. I haven't done any door knocking for the sole purpose of just trying to make business that way. That was personally for me, like to have another reason why I'm here. Because then it makes it more conversations. It kind of breaks the ice. That way the conversation isn't awkward. It's not like, hey, I want to talk to you about you selling your house or anything like that. It's kind of in that one. Houses the first kind of way and they're very easy. It's like, hey, I'm just here to invite you to this. I hope you can make it out there. Your neighbors just selling the house, trying to help them out. Check it out and see what you think. Give me your feedback on it. Maybe try something.
so don't let your bias about the weather. So obviously, that's a good example.
I won't do rain, but anything else.
You're brave. You're brave, but I mean, it works. Obviously, it works. There's an agent that we used to work with that he built his business on door knocking. He loved to door knock. So almost every day he was out door knocking and built a really strong business that way. So, just what you feel comfortable, what you can be excited about, and you know, what fits with your model that you want to create. Does anyone have any ahas about prospecting or marketing that they want to share?
It's nice to have a list out together. Sometimes when you're in the actual doing it piece, kind of. You're like, oh, I can do that too, or you don't think about it at the time, same to have it written down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and if you find yourself in kind of a lull or in a uninspired place in your business, perhaps taking a look or revisiting some of these lists and trying something new, a new strategy, or talking with some of the agents that are, you know, that you've met here through Ignite, either participating in or teaching, and just asking them about some of those tactics and maybe digging into that can be helpful too. I mean, it just goes to show that all of those lists that we were just looking at and all those things that we can do, there's so many, and you can't possibly do them all. You just have to focus on a few and then really dig into them and make those your strong strategies.
KW just released those playbooks. So
Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, yeah, and that was you guys,
Yes. Drew sent them out. They're on the Facebook page.
yeah, they were on the Facebook page.
So it's like a whole zip and then open up with a file. It's like all these different folders and all these different places.
Everything,
You don't have to wait for the wheel at all. Even when
everything.
like we want to do a mailer or something, we just like look at all the other examples or cases. See everything.
That you guys could do this business today with the way we have all the stuff arranged in the playbooks and on Command and Connect, and just utilize other people's works, that you don't have to do it yourself. Because with the smart plans on in Command, there's so many for everything you want to do is in there. So like Stephanie said, that playbook is huge for every one of those tactics that we just talked about. There's a playbook for that. And, you know, strategies and tips and tricks, and there's such a wealth of information that's already created for you guys. Don't have to go out there and do it yourself. You can utilize what other agents have already done.
So you shouldn't waste your time.
No, because it's there for sharing. Everybody, we all rise together, we help each other. There's no reason that you have to come up and, you know, spend your days thinking of new, unique ways to do it. Use what's already there, right?
Yeah.
Are they R&D, what do they rip off and duplicate?
Yeah.
You know, because it's there, they're not, people are willing to share, so take advantage of that. Let's take a quick 5-minute break. And then we'll come back and we'll dig into the meat of everything, and then finish up so that we can be done before the team meeting.
That's, I did a lot of marketing, precious metals. And I've done, you guys know, okay, like I'll do postcards. It's funny. It's such a shiny. I had, like, when I did a full brand with full scale. That was like your kind of on buyers accepted programs, and I have to do it. Some people always started, actually some clients that we did some business. So then my mind was like, oh, wow, I almost couldn't even, but then you look at your, you look at the metric of where businesses come from. That was just like on the where all my other business came from, face to face. But it's so easy to just kind of think.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like enjoying those things when you're feeling uninspired or you just need everyone.
Right.
To get you excited and enthusiastic. Like right now, we're doing the St. Patty's Day, like, yep.
Yeah.
You know. Just something, just to do something fun and then. Bring the eyes to it, but now when I do the calls. I can say, hey, did you get to do that?
Yeah, marketing can do that too. It can create the, but if you don't add that part, it's
Like we always used to tell the kids in baseball, when they start throwing the baseball around, snowballing it, and nobody's catching and all that basics. get back to the basics, and once they do that, they're making good throws, good catches, good. They got just all distracted. So it's kind of the same thing.
EJ, when we go back, can you, I forgot that you were doing that, so let me share. Can you share?
Yes.
Okay. How's it going so far? Yeah, and then stuff, or is it all redundant?
Learning.
I'm redundant, but it's a good reminder, it's a nice. Put it in. Context.
Yes, you won't actually do that word for word, it's one that I really just need to get through it, but. So to make sure you guys are getting something from it, it's not making, it's not all.
I
One
get
of-
so many social media posting ideas. To like, I'm putting one out right now, that's just showing also one of the best parts of her job. I'd love to do, like she said. If people think they're bad. Yeah, let's remind them. they're not.
Yeah, it's not on there. Right. They don't want you out there and represent, although they don't need to know. But we want to see the houses with them.
Yeah, let's go look.
So I think what we'll skip is doing the calls, and you guys will have to do those later, okay? Is that all right? Because they had a lot of time to break down, you know, like to do calling.
Yeah.
Are you guys okay with that, or you want to do that?
We'd rather learn more and do the other stuff.
Okay, I'll just ask everybody to do that, but I kind of figured that, because I'm telling you that I do it anyway, it's gonna do it. So make sure that somebody does slide it, and they're not getting information. that they- Or time to.
I have to say, okay, the host.
Okay.
Yes.
Told you.
I told you. It'll happen, they don't have that, I know.
What is that?
Yeah. Looks like. Raspberry or strawberry? Like raspberry. Yeah, raspberry.
Are you doing? Yeah, I'm gonna go after. Haven't done it, meet this team.
Yes, Shannon. See you later. Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Brianna.
Sign in.
Yeah, just fine. Okay.
You sign in, you're on there.
Andrew.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, that brings that.
Sign in.
No. Yeah.
You got in after the big loss check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody told me yesterday that even from spring work is already starting. And there looks like it's going, and then we're gonna do this for another 1 all over again. Yeah. Well, I mean, well, see, and that's the thing, because like, one of our team's things, it's got an offer accepted, 25,000 over this no inspection, with an appraisal gap guarantee. And like, I just thought that on a personal offer the other night, we went 10,000 over this. And we got beat up and somebody. And I'm like, I can't do that because it's not on personal properties, and I created an inspection on it, but we this would be like permission for it, but it's just like. It's crazy, I don't like some of them though, because we just had one, we had a pre-home inspection. But our other offers, they said 7-day inspection, the one that we accepted was way over in the list price that they said in the inspection. And they came back to immediately, it was, oh, this, gas. And we're like, oh, it's your house, like, what do you want us to do? And so they're gonna. But then literally, I don't think the agent explained to them all of this, because they were just like, Amy didn't this one. And we're like, we didn't tell you that. We like wrote it all out. CT 996, shut on it. And then we sent it off, like, yeah, I think, you know, it's just like, maybe have them something. You understand, but no, it shouldn't be.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
We did that last year for buyers, but you almost had it for sellers.
Yeah.
There's a seller's agent, have the buyers, to represent the buyers, that's what had your
And so-
buyer.
Put it out again, even though it already is in the purchase agreement, I feel like sometimes they're just like, well, you just can't do an inspection, we want your offer, so. So I think we're just gonna have to have them find something in addition to it to be like, we're not having an inspection. And I don't wanna say as is, but it almost is, like you're lying,
That's
just
a-
because you're not doing
That's a
any.
good idea. I
Yeah.
had a dad call me from,
Oh, no.
from a home I sold.
Dad calls.
A home I listed and sold, no inspection. And then later on, he called with all these things that, he had all these questions about the house and he, you know, it was just like.
It's like your house running.
It was nuts.
Yeah, I can understand what no inspection
You know, it's like, you know, I think he felt his kids took bad advice from the buyers. and said, "Ah, it's me."
Get back into this, we can get through the material and then we can share more, did everyone get a chance to sign this? Except for Amy? Impressive, right? All right, so. All right, go to the next one, Karen. Thank you. Oh, sorry, yeah. All right, let's get back into it. BJ was gonna share something and I forgot to call him before we broke for break. So do you want to just share what you had on your mind?
I just wanted to share one of my so I posted a video on Facebook yesterday. And I feel like the video didn't get as one of the response as I had expected. So that was kind of demotivating as being a new agent, but like, Andrea said earlier, there are people that just won't, reach out or won't respond to any of that and just keep watching you and, get back to you when you need. So, yeah, my answer would be, just, keep on posting and doing my own thing and stuff.
Yeah, that's a good share. Thank you for sharing, BJ. And that's the thing, you guys, just because people aren't responding doesn't mean they're not seeing you or that they don't like you or they don't like what you have to say. They're just not responding, but they are watching. So you just always have to be in the mindset that they're watching you and keep doing it because it works and be authentically you. The people who want to work with you want to know who you really are. They don't want to see you on video or in your marketing materials trying to be someone that you're not, because that will come through. So be yourself and share, be authentic, and that will go a long way to help you. Well, thank you. So let's dig into the remainder of the material so we can be done on time because of the team meeting. There's a gold mine of referral opportunities out there, and many agents miss out on referrals, and yet they can be an easy and lucrative source of leads. Imagine if leads simply came to you as referrals from your sphere of friends, family, coworkers, neighbors, etc. So let's talk about the different type of referrals and the systems that we could put into place to make the most of those referrals. And we're going to talk about client referrals, agent to agent referrals, worldwide referrals, because KW is now a worldwide company. We have brokerages in many companies around the world, and then business to business referrals. So always provide value. And this is talking about the client referrals. So sharing your KW app. Does everyone do that? Everyone share their app with people? And how about when you're getting people set up in Command, are you utilizing the neighborhood nurtures for everyone? That share the market statistics about their communities or their neighborhood, okay? And then if you haven't done so already, start compiling a list of vendors that you would recommend. Do you guys have one, Stephanie?
Yeah, we have a list of vendors and we let them know they're on our vendor.
Okay,
Don't be like secret with your vendors either.
yeah,
We always, every single time we give out Al's name for our electrician, we always tell them, we're like, hey, we sent this over to this person. And we just give them a name, whether or not they contact them and
right.
relevant, but at least then we're like, hey, we're always promoting you. And hopefully then they'll get this.
Right, so that when Al gets a call from someone, even if they don't say, hey, Stephanie and Amy sent me, he might wonder
Yeah.
if they did, because, remember, people that we give names to, and if they use them, then they're going to turn them on to their friends likely. And
Yeah.
so it might have originated with Stephanie and Amy, but it might not have, so if Al knows that you're giving out his name and promoting his business, if someone asks him, well, who would you use for a real estate agent? He's more than likely going to say, well, Amy and Stephanie for sure, because you're providing business to him or value to him. So don't discount those relationships, you guys, and make sure, like Stephanie said, that you always let them know that, like, I'll be letting Julie know that you're going to be reaching out to her and Lisa, so that they know. And then hopefully, that's important. I mean, even just for an introduction, but also to know that you're adding value to their business as well, right? So as we talked a little bit about earlier, setting expectation with our sphere too, letting them know that we're gonna, help them in any way we can, and be reaching out and asking for referrals. We can set those expectations and then reward them for referrals. But being reciprocal with that, asking what you can do for them, as well as sending them a handwritten note or a coffee card or something like that when they do. I mean, I don't know if Al sends you anything, but I know we refer a lot to Good Stuff Moving. And whenever we do, they always send us a couple of Target gift cards just to say thank you. So sometimes vendors will do that too, but a lot of times we'll just get a note, or sometimes it's even just an email or a text thanking them. But always be sure to go above and beyond being grateful to people who refer business to you. And throughout the transaction too. I mean, you can't be share details or anything, but if Al referred business to Stephanie and Amy, they might let them know like, hey, we're working with so-and-so that you referred and it's going really great, without, being sharing details that you can't share. So with client referrals, always provide value. Share your app, share the market statistics, do the neighborhood nurture, or just some way to, and then the vendor list is helpful. We get clients all the time that reach out to us that want, they need a painter or they need a plumber. So it's one way that they're reaching out to you, your phone's ringing, and it may not be for business, bless you, but it's another touch. And then always, be asking for referrals, either directly or indirectly when you're talking with people. And then reward for referrals and send a note.
The lender list, don't forget about your mortgage lender, because a lot of mortgage lenders, depending on who they represent, who companies they're with, they'll get underrepresented leads in all the time. They need agents as well to be able to refer those leads to. So if you're able to create a high relationship with them and a high value that way, and they know what you're able to contribute, they know you personally, they're gonna know which clients they have that are underrepresented to be a best fit to be able to refer them to you. I just asked our mortgage broker for our own personal purchase. If he had anybody that comes in that's unrepresented, and he would be willing to connect them. And he said, because of my knowledge base and my personality, and the way that we've connected personally, if I'm on his short list, there's a couple of us through those things for referrals. And so that was a really good feeling. But I mean, your mortgage vendors can be your lenders can be really great resources as well.
That's a good point. Thank you for sharing. When do you think the best time to ask for a referral is during the transaction? When you're in a transaction with someone?
Everyone.
All the time, right?
When they're happy.
When they're happy, when they've thanked you for something, when you've reached out, with the next steps, as if you're reaching out to let them know what the next steps are, asking for referrals, and really setting that expectation up front that you're going to provide service that with the intention that they'll love doing business with you so much that they're going to refer their family and friends and people that they care about to you.
So, I have a question.
Sure.
So while you're in the middle of that, if you're also, do you think it's really off-putting, like, in a way that like, well, I thought you were supposed to be like focusing on me, why are you worried so much about? Have you ever received that, or how do you?
That's a really good question. And it's probably more about your monkey mind than them. So you have to give yourself permission to ask, because it's important. If you set the expectation up front when you're meeting with a seller or a buyer, that your intention is to give them, high level service and value, so that when throughout the transaction, even tell them throughout the transaction, you may ask if they know of anyone. Because you want to give them such high level service that they don't even feel like they're your only client, but they know they're not, right?
I think if you're a well-oiled drum, it won't even come.
No,
If you've done every single thing within the transaction, follow your list, already touched on, already did that, already did this. And every single time they come to you, it's like, oh yeah, we already did that. Oh, did you already sent it to your email? Like, then it's just like, they don't even. I think it's when you start to, when they ask for something, you never got back to them. Then it's like, they're like, yeah, you can't handle it, you barely handle us. But if they feel like you can handle them, then they're just like, yeah, I can probably just throw many things.
yeah, she can juggle so many.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
My client who was last week, they had the other realtor and then switched to me, and I've only been with them for a week, but they keep asking me like, oh yeah, what can we do for you? You've been amazing. Thank you for doing all this for us. I'm going up tonight to do their loan paperwork and stuff. And every time I just go, yeah, just if you know anyone looking by yourself, please for me.
And that's
Kind of comes up naturally then at that point.
that's a perfect time to be able to ask for that, you know, just because they are happy and they're appreciating what you're doing and, yeah. But I understand what you're saying, because I would sometimes feel that way too, but the bottom line is that real estate transactions aren't something that most people typically do, you know, that often. So you have to be asking for business for referrals, because, you know, they're likely not gonna buy another house from you for 3 to 7 years. Or more. I mean, some people stay in their house forever. So if you're not actively pursuing new business by prospecting and lead generation, you're gonna be out of business. So,
I don't think I've ever met with my financial advisor and we hasn't asked for a referral. And it doesn't seem really awkward or anything.
no,
There's a smart plan that asks for referrals, and I'll send out an email like, hey, I'm looking for homes for sale in your neighborhood. If you know of anybody, and I'm getting a lot of that. I don't know anybody right now, but I'll keep my eye out.
well, and that's a really good point, Dawn. So even though those people are saying, hey, they're responding, right? That's what we want. We want them to respond to us. Then what's important is to acknowledge it and then reward that behavior. Even though they may not have given you a referral, send them a handwritten note and say, hey, thank you so much for keeping your ears and eyes open for me. And if you do hear of someone in the future, please, you know, yeah. And then the fact that they've responded to you and when in some sort of reach out like that tells you that they are thinking about you and they think highly enough of you to respond, first of all, and that they will, when they know someone who's looking to transact, refer them to you if you stay top of mind. So that's why it's important to reward that behavior by sending a note and then maybe even adding a person like that to your VIP list of clients that you're going to reach out to more often, or, you know, reward them with something periodically so that they keep you a top of mind for referrals in the future.
Yeah, pull one out if you ask.
They do. And then we just need to make sure that we show them our appreciation and gratitude with the, you know, whatever it is we do, special treats, or, you know, send them a birthday card, for sure, remembering their birthdays and maybe their home anniversaries, maybe their marriage anniversaries. And then just some around some of those holidays, sending them a note with, you know, a little, you know, DQ Blizzard certificate, or, you know, a coffee card or something, you know, but rewarding those people that you know, and, you know, kind of modeling that behavior that you want them to continue is huge. It's huge. So does anyone have anything they want to add or questions about the client referrals, asking for referrals, rewarding referrals?
There are certain limitations that we have for monetary rewards for referrals, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I think for tax write-offs, you can't do more than $25. Is that right? 25? Yeah. Is that?
Yeah, I think it is, yes, something about that. It's not very much, but that's for actual like cash. If you're giving them like, say, you know, a custom cutting board, like we do for, you know, a lot of agents do that for closing gifts and stuff like that. That's generally gonna be one of the things too, but it's, you know, when it's strictly cash. So, or like gift. I think something I'm gonna look into, I don't remember.
I think it's $25, but yeah, definitely good to, or maybe something to ask Mike about. But I think for tax purposes, I'm not a tax advisor, so I'm not, you know, offering tax advice at all. I think if it's above $25 in value, that it has to have your logo on it. Like it has to be logoed with your.
I think one of the best things to do is like, review. You go into like recommendations. When like that's usually. You just.
So do you do that with all your co-op agents that you work with on transactions if they did a good job?
Not for, well, I do it for like our KW, like referral.
The referrals, okay. So if you got a referral from another area,
Yeah, like, I have a out of state.
okay. That's next. But that, I mean, that's a good segue. Thank you.
Idea for the.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's a good segue into that. So we're talking agent to agent referrals. With Command, if you haven't already, you'll likely start getting requests from agents around the country to join their referral network. And when you start attending events like family reunion, mega camp, any like regional trainings, or if you go to other real estate trainings that other people outside of KW offer, like Tom Ferry or Jeff Glover or whatever, like start, meeting those agents and then adding them to your database and then keeping in touch with them intentionally so that they will refer business to you, because that's a huge source of our business. We get a lot of agent referrals from across the country, and then from agents locally. If you guys choose to get licensed in Wisconsin at some point, we do a lot of Wisconsin business from Minnesota agents that don't have their licenses. Do you guys do that too?
Yeah, we just recently got our. Wisconsin.
Okay,
Use the KW program that we have here today here. Aimed towards new agents, but Amy actually did it for Wisconsin.
that's awesome. So keep that in mind, you guys, if you ever want to get licensed in Wisconsin. I know Scott, you are. Dawn, are you licensed in Wisconsin too?
No, but that's the plan for next year.
Okay,
I get real.
yeah. How about you, Payman? Are you,
Same here.
okay?
This year.
Yeah. And that's perfectly fine to focus on one thing at a time. But the agent to agent referral can be, and that's a great idea, Stephanie, what Stephanie brought up as far as going on their site and giving them a review is huge to, again, promote that. So, so to make sure that you're top of mind with other agents is that you, because you're competing with the attention of the other agents too, right? Like they could refer their business to anyone. So you want to make sure you're top of mind. So staying in touch with them through, agents that you've made connections with the relationships, put them on a smart plan as well and stay in touch with them and touch base with them every once in a while. There's an agent that I met in Florida at a conference in January. And since then she's called me like every 2 weeks just to say hi, how are things going up there? Or if she sees the weather, because the people in Florida love to razz us about our weather, like, oh, I see you guys are getting dumped on again, but she stays in touch because she knows that people from Minnesota are going to be moving there. And if my clients are coming there, I mean, she's even so much said, because she's in Orlando. So where do people go in Orlando? Disney, right? So she's like, if you have clients who are coming on vacation to Disney, and what do people do when they go on vacation? A lot of times people who are interested in real estate or curious or thinking, especially since we've had such a tough winter, like, I can't wait to get the heck out of here. They're going to start looking at real estate in other areas, or at least just out of curiosity. So she said, if you have clients who come here and are just curious and want to see something or want some information, please have them call me. I mean, she's no dummy, right? At first I thought, why is she calling me so much? But then I realized, like, because every time she'd add a little bit more, like she wants my Minnesota people who are going to move down there because they're tired of the winter. So
Tough to persuade them to come back.
yeah. Yeah, it's not always reciprocal. But that can be a huge source of your business, you guys. So don't discount that. So we talked a little bit about that. So, growing the agent referral just by, making connections, and maybe even agents that you see online in Facebook groups, if you're part of any Facebook groups, that you feel connection to at least how they communicate or whatever, and then just getting to know them offline, maybe by sending messages or whatever, or they've shared a tip that intrigued you, like, hey, thanks so much for sharing that. I feel like I can use that in my business. I mean, just don't discount those kinds of touches to get in touch with agents elsewhere that you're not always going to be able to meet belly to belly. Maybe someday you will, if you get into, a business referring relationship, but don't discount that because that can be huge. And agents are looking for connection too. Not all offices are as engaged and have people as involved as this one. So they may be in an office where there's not a lot of engagement. So having an agent around the country that they can talk to and touch base with may be just what they're looking for. So don't discount that as well. Does anyone have any other ideas or tips or experiences working with co-op agents around the country or around the world for that matter? No? Okay. So moving on to the next one, the command one. Yep, there we go. So talking a little bit about the agent referral network, they wanted to talk about the ability to network with other agents around the country, in the world, on command. So the command has a system, the referral network, that allows you to find and connect with agents based on their location and their production. So you can see a lot about other agents. You can even see like how many referrals that they've been given or received. And then you also, the way that the referral network is set up, you can track your referrals. And one thing that I'll say, just by having done referrals with different agents, is the communication is so important. So if someone does refer you business, make sure that you keep in touch with them and let them know what's happening. You don't have to share all the details of the transaction because, again, you owe the client confidentiality. And if they want to know, they can ask the person that they referred to you the details. It's not your job to share that, but at least be sure to stay in touch with them and kind of give them a high level of what's happening, because they want to know. They want to know, first of all, that you're taking care of the people that they referred to you. And secondly, that it's, going smoothly. And again, just keeping that communication going with your referral partners is just as important as with your clients during the transaction. I mean, you don't have to be in touch with them, like sharing every next step with the referral partner like you would with the client, but at least letting them know what's happening. And then there's a great source, a resource that the US Census tracks migration in the country. So you can find out like who's moving where and what states they're moving from. And there's all kinds of maps out there if you just look on Google to find out. I mean, we already mentioned one, a lot of Minnesotans escape the winter and go south, either to Florida, Texas, Arizona, California for vacations. But I mean, we've helped, especially during the last couple of years, we've helped like whole families move from Minnesota to warm weather states. So that's something to be looking out for too. If people start sending you those vibes and messages that they're thinking about, relocating, be sure to stay on top of that and communicate with those people regularly. Because if they're talking about it, they're probably really thinking about it. Let me go to the next one. So beginning in 2022, Keller Williams had 50+ regions around the world where we had agents, and it's growing every year. They're adding more countries to that list. So be open to the possibility. Not all of us have clients that are going to be moving to international destinations, but if you do, know that this network is here for you. And you never know, especially if you visit a country on vacation, you might want to just look at the agents that are there. And if it happens to be on your beaten path, go visit them and learn about how they do business in their country and how real estate, and then maybe even that you could write off part of your trip. Again, I did not give any tax advice. Don't, Anne Marie said nope, but you may. But I mean, wouldn't it be fun if you were traveling, in Europe and to stop by a couple, had some time to stop by just a couple KW offices and find out how they do business and what it looks like there. It might be very much the same, and their business practices might be very different. So I think it would be exciting, if nothing else, and perhaps a way to, beef up your referral network if they ever have clients moving here. I mean, Minnesota has a lot of big companies here that bring in people from around the world. So don't discount that either. Next one. So our next source is business to business referrals. And we all do business with other business people, right? From our hairdressers or barbers, dentists, doctors, veterinarians. Most of us have cars, so we have to get our car serviced from time to time. you know, a lot of times we're gonna need professionals to come to our house to service our furnaces or our boilers or appliance repair. Those are all opportunities for you to make connections and have as referral partner resources. And especially if you're referring people to them, it's like Stephanie mentioned before, like a reciprocal from the people that you refer to is important to let them know, and then hope that, I mean, you can certainly come right out and ask, like, we love referrals, we love working with new referral partners, so if you know of anybody, but also showing them that you intend to enhance their business by sending business their way is huge. So they want us to write down some of the businesses that you already do business with, and think about ways that you could work with them to enhance your business. I think it's an important source. Are you guys okay with doing that exercise after? So we can keep going? Okay with that? Okay. But do think about that and don't discount that as a way to build your business. All right. How about ahas and takeaways from this section? I feel like I'm losing you guys.
Biggest thought for me is, you know, the unlimited potential that we have for doing the girls and agents within our KW network, because there's only so much time in the day, but if we can give potential clients or get potential clients from other agents and be able to sort of build those referrals, that's gonna be huge. Because if we're sending out a referral, that doesn't take us very much time, and we still get paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a really great way of building another source of income that way too.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's, and bears, we didn't really talk about that as part of it, but usually if someone sends you a referral, they're gonna expect some kind of compensation or, you know, sharing your commission. Standard has been about 25%. I've had agents from other parts of the country that have asked for higher because that's standard in their market. And sometimes we said, well, we do 25% here and they're okay with it. And sometimes they expect more. So, but then it's up to you. You don't have to accept that referral either. If you feel like you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I mean, so it's your business, you get to decide, but they're, you know, likely going to want that. And in return, if you're sending business to other agents, you can talk to them about having a reciprocal referral. So she's right. You can definitely, I mean, have some nice paychecks coming in that you don't even have to do anything other than making some calls and, you know, edifying that agent to your clients, like, hey, I'm going to set you up with an agent in Florida who's going to take really good care of you like I would. And she'll, you know, make sure to be there for your every need and want. And, you know, however you're going to pump them up. And you're in hopes that when agents refer business to you, it's going to be easy, that you're not going to have to work really hard to convert that lead because they're already converted from the agent that sent it to you. And then that's where the, you know, the referral compensation comes in, because you don't have to work hard for it. You've got it. And then you reward that behavior on behalf of the other agent. Anybody else? All right. So earlier we talked about all the different prospecting sources, as well as the sources that combine prospecting and marketing. Now we're going to cover geographic farming and then events and seminars. So a lot of agents focus their prospecting and marketing efforts on a neighborhood or a set of neighborhoods, which is known as geographical farming. Is everyone familiar with the website called Nextdoor? And I'll agree that we all know about Nextdoor. A geographical farm is similar to that, essentially targeting a message within a neighborhood. So when you choose to farm a neighborhood, be aware that it will not yield immediate results. A lot of agents say that it can take up to 9 months or a year before you get results. So don't go into the neighborhood farming with the intent that you're going to have immediate business. It could be a bonus that you might find someone who is ready, willing, and able, but it's likely that you're going to have to nurture and provide value to those farm or areas till they actually, get to know, like, and trust you. And some ways that you can do that, of course, neighborhood nurtures, if you can get them on neighborhood nurtures, and then just door knocking, sending out postcards, market info, offering to do CMAs. When you choose to farm a neighborhood, know that it's the long game and that you have to be committed to keep the work going once you begin. Choosing a farm involves some considerations such as number of houses and turnover rate, which where can you find the turnover rate in the neighborhood? Anyone know?
RPR.
And
City changes,
and
you want to Google search.
and MLS. Yes. So all those things that Dawn mentioned, those are all places that you can find that, but just taking an address or taking a home that's recently sold in an area that you want to farm, and then just doing an MLS, like looking back 6 months or a year to see how many houses have turned over, can be really helpful. And then even going to some of the tax records to see if there are any houses or properties that turned over off market, from just like a buyer to buyer, and see some of those properties as well. So once you've chosen a farm area, you'll need to devote yourself to knowing everything about the area, the history, the growth, the happenings, and anything else that would be important to the people in that community, so that they'll recognize you as part of their community. And then the commitment to staying in touch with those residents and keeping them informed of all that's happening in that area. Has anybody set up a Facebook group for their particular area or city specifically, or like a VIP client Facebook group?
I know, Chris Jensen did one for like.
Yeah, she has one. Yeah.
Agents that have like.
Bless you. Yeah, that's a really good way to farm an area, is to set up a Facebook group, or maybe even for a specific, neighborhood in a community or a community in general. And then just starting to add value and invite people to join that by, adding the value. It's all about staying in touch with them and having them see your face and, know that you are the local expert of choice by providing them value. What are some of the ways that you can maximize your prospecting and marketing efforts within a geographic farm? Were there any things that have been shared so far? Did Kevin share anything yesterday in the open house class? Just some of the ways that you can maximize your efforts of prospecting and marketing in a geographic farm area. And then were there any lessons like that you learned in any other classes or yesterday about doing that?
Like going before open houses and like when introducing yourself to the neighbors, like you inviting them over to see the open house.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And just being a face there that they get to know you and see you. Because how many times have you seen when a house goes up in a neighborhood and then usually 2 or 3 more will go on the market? A lot. So if the listing that you're door knocking is the first, chances are there's going to be some more coming up. You can get in and be the one that they call when they're ready, if you've been a face in the neighborhood and providing value, and maybe just get lucky and show up at the right time too, right? But you have to show up to do that.
I think it also like puts you apart. Like if you door knock like the other agents that have the same shit, then they're just like, well, you're the thing that actual door knock and I did it. And it's like, you already said your phone of the other.
Right. What are some other ways that we could maximize those efforts? Anybody have any ideas? Well, providing, like offering to do CMAs again. I mean, a lot of this is repetition, right? The same thing, offering to do CMAs.
Kevin talked about he rented a dumpster.
Yeah,
That big dumpster party, and someone else was saying that group does that too. I thought that was actually a really good idea.
yeah.
I was talking with my bestie out in California today. She said that her local realtor, I mean, she knows him, but has never used him, but he's getting out there. He goes out, puts signs out when they're gonna be street cleaning, so nobody gets towed or.
Oh,
For
snow emergencies.
And he also did, he said they got the most activity out of, he had a shred truck, shred your documents. And people from all over can bring their stuff and watch them shred.
And do they do that in the neighborhoods or at the offices? Oh,
And that got me into, like, oh, we can get an ice cream truck to come by and. Well, I mean, those kinds of things that help people clear out in the spring.
yeah. Different ideas, Scott?
Well, if you want to have a great conversation with your sphere, as far as geographic, if you have a listing, I always look who's in my database that was close. And usually that's a call. Hey, just want to let you know, I got a house going up. Oh, is that where, they just want to know all about it. It's a great conversation.
You're right. People love to know what's happening. I mean, a lot of people look at Zillow for fun. I can't imagine, but they do. They look at Zillow for fun every day. People say that all the time. Oh, I'm kind of an armchair realtor. I always look at Zillow and check out the new properties, or, I mean, if you start doing, excuse me, open houses in a certain area, you'll start seeing the same faces. And they're just coming because they like to look at pretty houses. Or that's what they do on the weekend for fun. And you'll start to see some of the same faces. And then you can kind of, recognize them and make a joke about it. I mean, I have some I see all the time and they're like, here I am again, like a bad penny. I keep showing up and stuff like that, So that can be fun too.
One of the things that I was actually, Don was talking about, like how they're helpful with that, is like neighborhoods typically do like neighborhood garage sales.
Mhm.
They're that, like a trash thing. So hey, if you don't sell everything, then you want to get it out of your house. Like that could be a good time to
Yeah,
do it with it.
we're running everything up to the.
Yeah, and say, or you don't want to deal with it, and we'll run it to,
Yeah, that's a really good idea too. One thing that I thought of when Don was mentioning that, is, they had that company, I can't think of the name of it right now, but that company that goes out and washes your trash cans. And I don't know, I think they charge like $15 or something, or like that could be something you could do, like a spring cleanup. You could incorporate that with some other things, like have that company there and in the neighborhood, especially if you're farming a neighborhood with enough houses that it might be beneficial to have a shredder and a garbage can cleanup company and a dumpster and who knows what else. I mean, you could really have a lot of fun with that. Okay, well, any ahas or questions about the geographic farming concept? Let's move on then to the seminars. And it's our final source that we're going to talk about today is leads through events and seminars. And I think we have someone in the room who just did one recently who can talk a little bit about that. In a minute, Payment, I'll give you the floor and you can talk a little bit about your first time home buyer seminar. Okay. So events that are get-togethers, so seminars or events can be get-togethers that are organized and hosted by you. Successful agents are very creative when it comes to events. Events are meant to attract leads and don't have to relate directly to real estate. So some ideas are like we just talked about, like cleanup days, neighborhood park cleanups. You could supply the bags, the gloves, water bottles, and then make sure that if people come and help volunteer, that you get their names, numbers, and addresses, so you could send them notes and create another lead in your database. You could do family front porch photos, set up dates and times with those that you want to connect with and offer to have a photographer come by and take photos of their family. Well, that was really big during the pandemic. A lot of photos are doing that for some no contact.
The Easter egg.
Yeah, Easter egg, we've got that coming in. We got photos with the Easter bunny. And I encourage you guys, even those of you who are new, if you don't have people that you want to invite or don't feel like, you know, you have, still come and support the people who are here. So that the other agents that, you know, might be referring their open houses to you, or if they need help with buyers down the road or whatever, see you participating and engaging and supporting what's happening in the office. It's important to be seen and participate. That will help your business a lot. And then you can also post on social media, even though, I mean, your sphere doesn't know that you don't have anybody here. But if you still post pictures of it, they're going to think that you had a whole bunch of clients at the event. So make sure to utilize those opportunities to promote yourself and your business. Even if you don't actively have people participating, you are, and you can promote that. Okay. Some other things are virtual game night, social media, and or having a game night at a brewery, inviting a bunch of people to come to a brewery and meet you there and play games, connecting with people who have similar interests that way. So seminars are a great way to generate leads as well. You are seen as an expert immediately, people who are willing to come. And especially if you're new to a city or new into the business, offering a first-time home buyer seminar can be a great way to get immediate business. And there is this book, the second edition was just released this summer, that Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote about buying your first home. And then there's a whole marketing kit online on Connect for you to just plug and play. Even the presentation is on there, so you don't have to do anything yourself. So all you have to do is go on there, get the materials, and then start marketing it on your social medias, and or send out, call people, invite people, and then get connected with a lender who can co-host it with you. Payman, can you talk about the first-time home buyer seminar that you and Carrie recently hosted?
Yeah, I mean, we planned it for a while to send bunch of, we found that, we targeted rental properties. We find the address and send.
So apartment buildings?
Yes,
Okay,
and we sent a bunch of flyers to them. And also contact superiors and all involved. So finally, we had like several people in there.
how many people did help came?
I think it was 10 people.
Wow, so 10 people, you guys, 10 potential buyers.
Night of store.
Yep, I remember that. It was snowing and it was cold and you still had 10 people show up. That's awesome.
And then Carrie got one off of that. Maybe like that.
Yeah, it was really a successful event.
Rental and try to develop.
So converting apartment dwellers to home buyers.
I could be provided the website, you can call and they give you the addresses, because it's hard to find that. You can purchase.
Did you work with a title company to get them, or was it a specific vendor?
This specific website, I mean.
Okay.
company.
Okay,
And I called them, they make flyers. And sometimes they sell in the addresses.
And so you mail these to them, right? You don't just like.
so there is a
Pay
cost.
for it, they mail it out, but I created that.
But that's something that you could work with a lender. Did you guys work with anyone else but a lender?
Yes, it was, they didn't know.
Okay, so you could work with lender.
Inspector.
And you could have a home inspector, you might want to reach out to title. If you're, and that's a way to build a relationship with a title company. We've got partners right across the hall. Find someone there that maybe would be willing to come and answer questions about the title process during that. And then some of those vendors may, again, not offering any tax advice or anything like that, but some of those vendors may be able to willing to co-op it and pay for some of the mailings and stuff. Stephanie?
If a lender pays for it, half of them has to advertise their lender, the other half has to advertise you. The advertisement has to be equal, and half done, half you, and then they can pay for half.
So that's one way, to get some co-op money is, and I mean, you want a lender there anyway, because,
Oh, the
If-
question was.
right, if they're not,
Was the main part, because a lot of people, because especially first time home buyer want to know how to start.
right,
They have a lot of questions about the loan and this kind of stuff.
has anyone else, thank you, Payman, for sharing. Has anybody else done any seminars? Do you guys do seminars?
Yeah, we actually just did one yesterday for, sellers.
Okay, so seller seminar,
So, seller seminar.
was it online or in person?
Online.
Okay,
Via Zoom. We did have Google show up, but it was during the day, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so, we're gonna try doing a buyer seminar here coming up, but we're gonna try to do it around like 5, 6 o'clock at night, to see if we can get more people engaged, because I think the reason why we didn't have as good a turnout is because it was in the middle of the day. So we're trying to get more people.
sure. Well, I think it's good to try different times just to see what kind of participation that you get. Are you gonna do it in person, the home buyer event, or are you gonna do it online?
We're also gonna do it online, just to make it
Okay,
completely accessible for everybody, for the vast majority of people. Because right now, the average home buyer, first time home buyer is about 35, 36 years old. So most of us in the generation are being kind of savvy when it comes to Zoom, especially now that we're with COVID and everything. A lot of Zoom meetings have happened, so we do most of it over Zoom, that way we can get everybody on there as much as possible.
thank you for sharing.
Mike and I are doing one on Saturday with Spire Credit Union. They're doing a big first time home buyer event, seminar. And they invited Mike and I to be the realtors at the event.
Cool.
People and sponsor it and stuff.
Is that here in Woodbury?
It's in St. Paul, actually.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, don't discount that too, guys. I mean, you guys all do banking with somebody, right? Okay. So we gotta wrap up here because we're gonna started to get inundated with other people for the team meeting. So go on Connect, you guys, and check out that first time home buyer seminar. It's all the materials are on there. It's awesome. So be sure to do that. And I think there's other ones on there as well. And then, maybe tap some of the agents that have already done them here in the office and get, some tips and tricks. So let's wrap up by just reviewing that leads are everywhere. Every day, everywhere you go, all day long, there are potential leads. And look at the interactions that you have with people as an opportunity to connect, engage, and then, make relationship with them so that you have potential business opportunities in the future. And then keep in touch with them with the prospecting of the care calls. Does anyone have any ahas that they want to share about today? Yeah, and I appreciate that. It was awesome that you guys shared, and I think the interaction helped so much.
I actually liked that there's something that you can look at migration patterns, see where people are living. I thought that was really.
And then be sure you guys, for the success system after, to make the calls this afternoon, since we're not going to be able to take time because we're going to end 40 minutes early. So that you guys please make sure to make your calls, don't discount the importance of keeping in touch and making those calls today. And even if it's just maybe reaching out to some people that you already do business with, but just make some of those connections today. And then see, I'm gonna make sure that they've talked about the do not call list in other classes, right? And then make sure you adhere to those standards. Well, I hope that this was helpful for you guys today. Hope you got some takeaways and some things that you'll implement in your business. I wish you great success. Karen and I are always here to answer any questions or help in any way we can. My contact info is up there. And just wish you all the best as you embark on your real estate careers, or those of you that came back. We're so glad to have you back. And Stephanie, thank you for being here. And Adriana, thank you for being here and sharing. You know, you guys have been around and had experience, so that's really great for everyone to hear some of the things that you guys do in your business. So thank you.
Yeah, I think so. I think we can probably do better on our real estate agents. That's something that I don't really think about.
Yeah.
I think we're still learning in the classes.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much, like you could probably do these classes like every day for a year and still learn new things and,
Right.
you know, and then go back in the
Sure.
next year and do it again. Karen sends out thank you cards to our agents that we call up with under transactions right away after the transaction. If we don't add it to our burn list. And we can talk about that later.
We all learn both.
Yeah, that's where we got the idea.
And then she also at the same time takes a Thanksgiving Day card and writes a note to them and then sends those out in November. So as another, you know, like,
We used to do that and then we did the, at the end of the year, we would do it like a year.
that's a great idea.
I think probably like invite them more to like our KW training and stuff, because then maybe it'd be like more for like a downline for people that would want to come. Because like a lot of our KW offices, even our regional ones are actually open to.
Everybody, yeah. And that's a really good point, Stephanie, like inviting other agents that you co-op with to our events. And I mean, Bold is coming up, so that would be a great one, at least even to invite them to the first day of Bold to check it out. I mean, everyone is gonna need new tips, tricks, and strategies with the market. So help your co-op agents, and then like Stephanie said, they might decide to come to KW and, you know, you can build your profit share that way.
We have a co-op agent party for our student career now. So we invite all the co-op agents to the house and we have a party, we get food and just kind of get to know each other, we network a bit. Amongst ourselves, invite the lenders and it turned out really, really well this last weekend, so awesome. It's so fun to hear the different things that people are doing to engage with. So, if you guys are still hungry or you look at me up, there's still something left, so please help yourself, and then I have a little parting gift for you, so be sure to come up and grab these little card that you can open, and a special message for you today. Okay. And thank you guys for coming. Thanks for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did everyone sign this? They made.
Definitely get credit for it, yeah.
I can sign it.
I'm right there.
That's my.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you for coming.
You feel like it's all one of those things, white.
Yeah.
The whole lot.
Thank you again.
I love this. This is so wonderful.
I love that.
And so the possibility of having a drink, I'm sure that makes.
We getting this ready, Drew?
Oh, yeah. Gotta get the team meeting